For today's presentation, we will be presenting the Orion's Belt Port, our proposed port design of artificial commercial and fishing harbor. Now for the first one, about the Orion Port, it includes about the location, area, projected capacity, and the target beneficiaries. For the location, we intended to consider the adjacent to our mission church and nearby the Orion Memorial Park. The access road for the facility will be shared with the Memorial Park approximately 767 meters apart from the Philippine National Road. And now for the area, the location for the proposed artificial and the commercial harbor will be at the Barangay Camachile, Orion, Bataan, with an area of approximately 9.1 square kilometers. And it is surrounded by the Manila Bay, giving a wide range of opportunities for fishing industries in the local. For the type of harbor, it is considered, as stated earlier, as an artificial commercial and fishing port. For the projected capacity, first for the commercial purposes, it has for the maximum length of 300 meters, maximum depth of 30 meters, and the maximum dead weight of 83.216 tons. For the fishing vessels, in accordance to Fisheries Administrative Order number 198-1 series of 2018, for the more small-scale commercial fishing vessels, it has a range of 3.1 gross tons to 20 gross tons, medium scale 20.1 gross tons to 150 gross tons, and large-scale commercial fishing vessels of up to 100 or greater than 150 gross tons. Now, for the intended beneficiaries, first of all, the residents of the municipality of Bataan. Second, the people from Pampanga and the Tarlac in the northern part of Luzon. Third one, the passengers leaving the Manila port. And lastly, and most importantly, the fishing sector industries nearby the local.
The layout of the Orion port. The areas and facilities included in the design are further explained in Part 5. The main layout is projected from the inspiration of the constellation Orion, which is partly considered in the position of an anchorage areas and etc. Moreover, the design consideration for the proposed project includes the hazard report of the location, the accessibility and serviceability of the port, and lastly, the flow of the future users of the facility. For the road network of the port, the figure shows or illustrates the flow of transportation and pedestrian traffic inside and outside the proposed project. There are two designated access roads or entrances and exits for the site to be developed, one for the fishing area which is shown, and one for the commercial passenger or port area. The access roads are designed as two-way roads that connect to the road towards the national road. Furthermore, as the vehicle enters the commercial port, two options are given to the vehicle owner, whether to enter the premises for pick-up or drop-off, or to park on the parking spaces provided with its own entrance and exit. Deliverables, cargo, loads, freight are picked up on the road appointed around the parking areas to minimize or lessen the probability of traffic congestion occurring with the trucks and other vehicles sharing the access road. And lastly, the interior areas of the facilities are supposed pedestrian zone, with no vehicles around or no vehicles allowed inside and should be free for people flow circulation within the port facility system.
The hazard report that the proponents considered in the design of the ports are the data from the Pag-asa for the chosen location. The wind hazard report indicated that there are severe winds that may occur on the area. Meanwhile, for the seismic hazard, there are hazards from ground rupture, yet the cause or the fault line is assured far from the location, thus making it safe for the said hazard. The location is prone to ground shaking and is generally susceptible to liquefaction. Lastly, since the proposed project is on the coastal area, it is prone to tsunamis. The tidal levels for Orion Bataan shows that the highest tide that may occur is 1 meter above initial sea level. This data is from the tidal times chart from April 28 to May 2023. For the assessment of these hazards, there are countermeasures that are generated providing solutions to the safety of the proposed port. Countermeasures for the wind hazards are not induced as there are no specific countermeasures required because the velocity of the wind reported, although severe, is considered normal in the station. For the seismic hazards, the plan is to construct structures with assured structural stability. And lastly, in response to the tidal hazard, there shall be construction of breakwaters to reduce the large currents, waves, and tides. So we have the facilities included in the Orion port. So first we have the breakwater. So it is a permanent structure constructed on a coastal area. So this has a depth ranging to 30 to 70 meters and an area ranging from 70 to 160 square meters. So next is we have the mooring dolphins. So the mooring dolphins are smaller structures that are included in the design to assist the vessels in the anchorage areas. So the mooring dolphins are situated on the major breakwater to be constructed beside the cargo terminal. So next we have the cargo terminal facility located next to the major breakwater and beside the ship repair area. And it has an area of 260 square meters. So next we have the ship repair area, often called shipyard, dockyard, or boatyard. So the probable lot area for the maintenance is approximately 300 square meters. Next, we have the dry dock. It is an area from which the water can be removed for ships to be built or repaired. So the projected area of the design is 15.35 square kilometers. Next, we have the anchorage area. It serves as the temporary parking of ships or vessels for the loading and unloading of passengers and or cargoes. So this has a proposed area of 11.63 square kilometers. Next, we have the berth. Berths are areas designated for the mooring of vessels. In the proposed design, there are two types of berths, namely tugboats and oil berths. So the projected area for the oil berth is 6.76 square kilometers, while for the tugboat berth is 6.76 square kilometers, and for the oil berth is 2.66 square kilometers. So next is we have the storage facilities or warehouses where the goods and products are stored for a certain period of time. So this has a proposed area of 5.95 square kilometers. Next, we have the fishing port or the fishing vessels are considered as one of the most common type of vessel types worldwide. So next, for the fishing port is the fishermen lobby. It will serve as the lodging facility for the tools and equipment as well as the fishermen that are prepared for the deployment of fishing activities. So it has an area of 623.52 square meters. Next, we have the market halls, which is the primary processing unit of the received goods from the fishing activities, with an area of 1,925 square meters. Next to this is the control tower, which consists of the lighthouse structure specifically designed to guide incoming vessels. And next, we have the power substation. For the power substation, it is simply an electrical system component that assists in the generation, transmission, and distribution of power. Next is we have the passenger terminal, which is a site on a seaport where people or cargo are loaded and unloaded. So, the terminal points aid in the separation of clients, port personnel, and government agencies. Next to this is the retail shops and restaurants. These are stores that are typically owned and run by a retailer. And then we have the open parking space. Next is the security in ports is of utmost importance, since ports are critical infrastructure that serves as a gateway for international trade and commerce. Next is we have the information booth for passengers and guests looking for information about the port and its services. And lastly, we have the materials recovery facility, which is a specialized building used in ports for sorting and recovering recyclable or reusable materials.
For the methodology, the chosen locale for the proposed port is the Orion Bataan, as seen in the figure. The methodology used to obtain data was through a close-ended survey questionnaire. The researchers were able to gather responses from 7 people from Orion, Bataan through online interaction. Most of the respondents' ages ranged from 21 to 37 years old. Next slide, please. For the data that has been gathered, the raw responses from the questionnaire were graphed and then interpreted. The responses to the question of why the proposed Orion port should be built depicts that all the claims are supported and that the construction of port is feasible. For example, from the first stated advantages of port, when asked if the port will generate various job opportunities for the community and the market industry, all of the respondents agreed on the said claim. Next slide, please. Proceeding on the disadvantages of building a proposed port, some of the respondents agreed on the negative effects of the said construction. For example, from the claim that the port might cause environmental issues in the area, 4 of the respondents agreed, 2 disagreed, and 1 was neutral. To address this, countermeasures were made and was already discussed by my groupmate. Next slide, please. From the results and summary of the survey, it can be implied that there are both benefits and drawbacks to developing a port in the area, based on the information received from the respondents. However, in order to efficiently design the port, countermeasures can be taken and the standard requirements must be followed.